This is the second episode with an actual guest, and this is a special one. We got the mayor of Clinton, New Jersey, a four-time mayor. People can barely maintain once. They become mayor once, they get kicked out of their city. People hate them. They do this, that, they steal money. All type of stories from everywhere, right?
Right.
We're sitting down with a four-time champion, and yeah, I'll give you the floor. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you. My name's Janice Kovach. I am serving in my fourth term as mayor for the town of Clinton. I actually grew up in town. So for me, this is home. And I brought my family back here to raise my family because I wanted them to kind of experience that small town, the nostalgia I had growing up. So it's a community I love, and I'm happy to be able to serve them.
This is your people, right? You grew up around these people.
I did grow up around these people.
Right. Is it surreal to see these people see you in a different light now? Because you were a little girl growing up.
Right.
Right?
So it's interesting. When I was going to school, my eighth grade social studies teacher, her name was Allie McGarrett. Then she was wonderful. She was truly someone I looked up to. And when I moved back into town, she was retired from teaching and she was the mayor of the town. So
she was the mayor.
She was the mayor at
Oh.
the time. So when I moved back, it was quite the experience first I knew her as a student and then I knew her as a friend, although she still would use the teacher voice when she wanted me to do something.
Right. That never goes away.
It never goes. She knew how to do it.
Yeah, it is interesting. I would just go straight to there's a lot of topics I want to talk about.
Sure.
It's crazy, right? What's happening?
It is. We're in a strange time right now.
First of all, you're a Democrat, right?
I am a Democrat, yes.
So there's this. I'm not very casual, by the way. I'm not an expert in American politics. I'm not from America, but the Democrats seem to have lost a voice. It seems like there's no representative or someone we can count on. Someone we can see and be like, yo, we can get behind them. I mean, I like Obama, right? I like Michelle a lot. I mean, they're not running.
No,
right?
they're not running.
Them, I really don't see anybody else.
I think there's a lot of individuals out there.
Right.
I'll put out Cory Booker.
Okay.
I'll put out Governor Pritzker from Illinois. Obviously Governor Newsom has been making a name for himself.
Right.
Governor Whitmer from Michigan. There's a number of individuals out there, and I think we're starting to see, Pete Buttigieg. These are all people who, has stepped up in some way, shape, or form. Are they the voice of the party? I don't know. I think part of it is we're trying to figure out what that voice is. We've seen so much change happening, and people are, ultimately people care about what's happening in their backyard, right? We care about being able to put food on our tables, pay our rent or our mortgage, and take care of our families. Those are the key things.
Right.
And it's, the Democratic Party has ideals, just as the Republican Party does at that kind of national level. And we just haven't figured out, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not speaking for any Democratic Party or anything like that, but I think we're struggling with that identity, right? There's a whole new group of individuals out there. On top of the fact we have social media,
right,
which is what people are trusting to get their news from. No one's trusting the news sources. The Democrats don't trust, the news sources on the right. The Republicans don't trust the news sources that they feel are on the left. So it puts us in this place where we have individuals with opinions on social media driving the conversation, and we keep driving the party based on whatever that conversation happens to be.
That is crazy, because I'm one of those.
Right. We all are. We're all on social media in some way, shape, or form. I've limited a lot of what I put up. My personal stuff is really just my family, my dogs, and things like that. I try not to get into politics on my personal page, because ultimately, as the mayor, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. We all deal with trash the same way. As I mentioned, I was dealing with a trash issue right before we came in here. We all make sure potholes get fixed. That's not Democrat or Republican. That's just dealing with what's happening in our communities.
Right. That's also just being a human being, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Because I'm from Bangladesh, right? It's a lot of people, regular people, fixing up potholes, fixing up the drains, teaching kids.
Yes.
And yeah, you stand out in that way. So back to what we were saying about the party not having a voice. So you know the new voices, the AOCs and the Zoran Mamdanis, right? You heard
Yep.
of Zoran, right?
Yep.
So what do you think of these voices? These are kind of radical.
Listen, they are representing a group of individuals
Right.
that believe in what they have to say. I look at, I'm kind of a middle of the road. I look at it that I am socially definitely much more liberal. I have issues that are important to me, but at the same time, I also know I have to manage a budget. I can't make taxes crazy so that people can't afford to live here, but I also can't afford to give away everything. So it's this constant balance. But I think a lot of that comes from years of experience. I come from the corporate world. I've been around for a long time. The newer voices are a much younger generation that grew up differently. You know, it you you laugh about it, but that whole Gen X,
Right.
which is the generation I'm from, is different in a lot of respects than those that have been growing up after that. I look at my kids who grew up on social media, who grew up with cell phones. It's a much different world, and, you know, I the idealized look at what, the AOCs and the Mandamis wanna do, I I can appreciate what they're trying to do. I can appreciate that they're trying to provide for a community, but there's gotta be a balance.
Right.
What's the cost to provide? And, where's that public-private partnership?
Right. Because Zoran Mamdani talks a lot about free rent, free buses, free food, free everything, right? Somebody's got to pay.
It's interesting that you say that, right? Because
Right.
that's the and my husband and I have had this conversation. He's like, "I have no problem paying my taxes. I'm lucky I can pay my taxes." And I get that there are some people that struggle and it's not through any fault of their own. Circumstances have brought about a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But I also understand when individuals make statements about those who scam the system.
Right.
And that's both sides. I'm not gonna say Democrats scam or
Right.
Republicans scam. People scam. If someone thinks that they can get away with something, they're gonna get away with it. But there are truly people out there who deserve assistance, and we shouldn't forget those individuals. I think about the seniors who are on fixed incomes.
Mhm.
They have given, and they have provided, and they have worked their entire lives in most instances, and some of them are still working.
Right.
I've seen people working into their 90s because they need to still be able to pay their rent and put food on the table.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this topic is, I'm an immigrant and it's like, okay, some things are bad. It's illegal to have all these people come here and, do all these things. And there's this other side of the conversation where Trump is having people outside courthouses, just waiting for people to come
Right.
out and arrest them. So where should, because I can't even judge someone like Trump. Because what would he do? Like, is there anything they can do? Where's the like a good line that we can draw between okay, turning like I don't want the president to turn into a full on evil villain. Having crocodiles in a park waiting for immigrants to eat up and
Right.
yeah,
Listen, I think, again, this is where the media and social media really play into people's fears.
really,
This is a country of immigrants. My ancestors emigrated here. They didn't come over in the 1700s or the 1800s. They came over in the early 1900s. So, and they made a life for themselves. So we have to be able to provide. The other side of it, and especially when you're talking about some of the migrants that are coming over with children or children unattended. I recently said something to someone. I said, if anything ever happened where I needed my children to be safe, I would want to know that they could go to a country that would take care of them
right,
and that would give them an opportunity. Because for me, it's about my kids. That's my family. And I think, but at the same time, there's got to be a balance. Like it shouldn't be just an open door policy. We shouldn't be giving away everything. But at the same time, what's that balance? And here's an interesting thing. So I was at a dinner 10 years ago. Um, it was President George W. was speaking, and we were talking about, he was talking about, the ability for immigrants to get work visas. And he said, here's something really interesting. When I was president and Congress was Democrat, they fought me on providing work visas for
mm,
immigrants coming over. And at that time, Obama was president. And he goes, and now the Republican Congress is doing the same thing to him. So they weren't making it about what was in the best interest of the country, because obviously the farmers need the migrant workers to be able to come in. And both presidents were trying to come up with a solution that didn't ever happen. I mean, you just had the same thing during President Biden.
Right.
You had a bipartisan initiative to deal with some of the immigration issues. Does it fix it all? Absolutely not. It needs to be fixed. It is definitely a broken system, but I don't think extremes on either side are the answer.
Right. It has to be a good balance, right?
It really does.
Balance is hard when you're in a country like America. It's the best place to be, and everyone wants to come here, right? The bad, the good, all types of people want to come here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But at the same time, you also have to look at it that it is, we've always been a land of opportunity, and we don't want to discourage, but we have to stop playing politics with it. That's been my frustration with both parties, really, is playing that political scare tactics, because people react when they're afraid. People vote when they're afraid or they're angry. If they're not afraid or angry, they may sit home and not participate in an election. You make them afraid or angry, and they're going to participate.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of like social media.
Yeah.
If you can get people riled up with a video, people react, right?
Yes.
Right. What do you think the solution is? If you had to run for president, right?
Never happening.
If you had to go against Donald Trump, right? What would your agenda be? What would your big thing be? Like, every president has a big thing. Donald Trump had the wall,
Right.
right? So what would yours be?
I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of things. Infrastructure is huge.
Right.
I was just away, and it was interesting to have public transportation in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We have a horrible infrastructure system. Even in New Jersey, one of the struggles is I can't go from where I am to Atlantic City on a bus or a train. My youngest, was going to school in near Atlantic City. There was no way, unless I drove down to get him, there was no way to get him on any sort of public transportation to get home. Our bridges are failing. And yet, we talk about so many other things. So infrastructure for me is key. I see it here in town. We make sure that we own our own water company and sewer company here for the town. And health and public safety is always a priority.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, you don't get to see the water mains that go in, but you know that you're getting, that they're repaired, that they're updated, and that it's clean water that you're getting.
Right.
We're doing all of that because, again, that's what's important. So I think for me, infrastructure is my priority. Until you get a Congress that isn't focused on staying in office. So, I've always been a proponent of term limits. I don't think it's a career. But at the same time, as long as you've got people who are running to run for reelection,
Mm-hmm.
their goal is to make sure that, the person that's running against them doesn't have anything to use against them.
Right. It is tricky, right?
It is.
It is.
And you've got gerrymandered districts.
Right. It's murky waters.
Mm-hmm.
You get, you trust the wrong people. I think Trump trusted the wrong people in his first term, right? And now he seems a little more collected. What do you think of Trump?
He's the president of the United States.
Yeah.
I am a Democrat.
Right.
I did not vote for him.
Right.
I'll be honest about that. But I respect the office. Do I agree with what he's been doing now?
Which part?
Just how he is addressing the executive orders, and kind of coming out, with this full force on immigration, deporting people and sending them to a prison in El Salvador. Criminals, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't know that the process has really been vetted. So stuff like that, I don't agree with. Any president, if a Democrat did it, I wouldn't agree with it.
Right.
These are human beings, no
Mhm.
matter what. And it's making sure that our Constitution provides for due process.
Right.
And when you stop following the rule of law or the Constitution, that's where things break down.
Right.
That to me is kind of my boundary. When we've had, incidents in town and people, I've had residents say to me, how can you support or how can you do something for someone that is so abhorrent.
Mm-hmm.
I take an oath of office, and that oath of office is that I will uphold the Constitution, which means I represent everyone, even those that didn't vote for me, even those that hate me.
Mm-hmm.
I represent everyone in this community.
Right. Trump doesn't do that.
No.
Trump represents a certain demographic.
Listen, I will give him credit. He has figured out a way
Right.
to navigate this and make it work. You know, he learned from to your point, from the first term. But at the same time, there are people who are enabling all of this to happen. And when you have legislators going on TikTok to make fun of something or to point out something, that to me, that goes against what a public servant is.
Mm. Yeah, it's a different definition now of a public servant. It's more of an influencer. You see what Zoran Mondani's doing. He's making videos every day. Right, he's making funny videos. It's kind of catchy. I mean, I watch them.
It works. I get it. It absolutely does. People, again, that's how everyone's getting their content.
Right. So will that kind of, take you out of your path of being a public servant and you're more like a public comedian or a public influencer? Where's the line? Because I see politicians do this all the time. They're saying things just to get likes.
Yes.
Right,
a soundbite. Listen, sound bites have been around forever. You just had to wait for the press to pick up the soundbite.
Right.
Now you've got the ability to put it up on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat, whatever it is that you happen to be on. I hope, and I wouldn't want to say that comedians, definitely influencers.
Right.
They're taking a page out of the playbook that influencers are using
All the time.
and it's working.
Yeah.
Again, are we really doing what's in the best interest?
Right.
When I got involved initially, someone said to me, always think about whatever it is you're going to do, making the top fold of the front page of the paper. And is that what you want your kids to see?
Powerful.
I'm like, absolutely. That's something I think about all the time. And I have to feel good. And when I go to bed at night, that every decision I've made has been in the best interest, not in my interest.
Mm-hmm.
Has every decision been popular? Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. You got some regrets?
No, I have no regrets. Everything that I've done, truly has been in the best interest of the town. It may not have been a popular decision, but it was always about what was in the greater good for the community.
Which one was your most hated decision by the town?
I'm sure there's a couple of them. Probably, during the pandemic, the fact that things were shut down, which, we were following state regulations and state emergency orders, but it was hard, right? Like we were learning each day. And there would, someone would say, well, why are you doing that? And I didn't always have an answer. And then we could change the next day. All right, well, this kind of business can be open. Well, why can this business be open, but not this business?
Right.
We really struggled.
So you were against the mask?
No, I wasn't against the mask. I was about what was ever going to keep my community safe.
Right.
We didn't know enough.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think we took the benches up off Main Street because I was having people congregate outside. And in the beginning, they didn't want that. We did have an implosion of dogs, though. Everyone got dogs because that was their excuse to go outside.
Right. It was a sad time.
It was so hard.
Yeah.
And, I had done a TEDx talk on kind of coming out of the pandemic. And it was really about, we were in this stage of, did you see the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
So, the red pill or the blue pill.
Right.
Blue pill, you go back into the matrix and everything goes back to normal. The red pill, you kind of see. We had to come out of that and take the red pill. And, I joked with a couple of reporters. I'm like, I want to take the blue pill and go back.
Exactly.
But you know what? We learned.
Mm-hmm.
Were mistakes made? Absolutely. I don't think anyone knew it was going to be what it was.
Right.
Or how to address it. It's been 100 years since we'd had a pandemic like that.
Yeah, a lot of people blame China.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, Trump did, right?
Trump blamed China, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where the blame goes.
Right, because a lot of people died in China as well.
Right.
A lot of people died.
too many people died from it, and I think we didn't know enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what Trump did well was fast track the vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Was it a good thing though? Because, a lot of things are coming out about the vaccine now, being fast-tracked and not being researched enough.
but so here's the question,
Yeah.
right? That became a political hot potato during the election.
Right.
So if, playing hypotheticals, if Trump had won a second term 4 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and he had gotten the vaccine, his family had gotten the vaccine, would we all still be afraid of the vaccine?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. We politicized something that was important to keeping people safe. And same thing with the vaccines now.
Right.
The children's vaccines. I know that there's a lot. All of my kids were vaccinated.
Right.
I did the schedule a little differently because my one son had reactions. So, we just stretched it out a little bit longer.
Right.
But ultimately, it was about keeping my family safe.
Right. Yeah, because I'm into conspiracy a lot. I mean, I love all that conspiracies. People are making the vaccines to turn us into animals and all that. And but
For all the stuff we put into our bodies,
right.
right? People who smoke, people who drink, people who eat processed foods,
Right.
people who sit out in the sun and tan.
Right.
All of these things, we're so worried. It's the same thing. Like, you have to put faith in science. And one of our friends who used to be a neighbor is a scientist and swore, he worked for one of the drug companies, not one of the ones that created the vaccine.
Right.
But he looked at the research. He said, I'm giving it to my family because it's going to protect them.
Dr. Fauci got sued, right?
Mm-hmm. What happened with that?
I don't know I don't know if that's finished.
It's not finished, right?
No, that's going to be drawn out for years.
Yeah, that's weird.
But he also had to have higher private security because his life was threatened.
Right. Yeah.
He's a doctor.
Right. Right.
Until the pandemic, no one even knew who he was.
Exactly. Poor man. It
Right.
just goes on the spotlight and everyone hates him now.
Right.
The conversations could go so many ways, right?
Yeah.
Especially with medicine. Like, what you put in your body, you see something on Joe Rogan, some other medication that works, and some other dude says this and that. Doctors are saying this. Who do you really trust? Is there someone you trust on the internet? Someone you can always go to and
On
see
the
his-
internet? No, not on the internet. I mean, I have my kid's pediatrician
Right.
is someone that I always, would ask questions. Our friends who are scientists, I'll ask questions. I try not to trust Google or Bing, whichever you're using, or whatever other search engine.
Right.
I'll ask not that I don't use it to ask questions to see what kind of response I get, but I'm going to go to people I know and people I trust.
Right. So internet is off for you.
As far as getting my advice, yes. It's not going to help me make the decision, do I get the flu shot or not get the flu shot?
Right. Yeah, it is. So many people dying, right? With the wars, and it's not just vaccines. It's just people killing people.
We're in a strange time.
It is. And with social media, we just scroll past deaths all the time. People dying, this bomb and this kid getting shot up by this and that, and there's this other kid dancing. It's just the emotions are all over the place. We barely get any chance to sit down and just realize, hey, I just watched someone die on my phone.
We're numb to it. I mean, it goes back like video games, right? There's always been the conversation of letting kids play violent video games, shooting games. What is it teaching them? Is it kind of making them immune to suffering or hurting someone? Again, you have to hope that parents are teaching their children right from wrong. A video game is not real life. Like, I'm not looking for anyone else to raise my children. I'm looking for them to, you see my kid do something wrong, you let them know they're doing something wrong.
Right.
Like, absolutely, that's what it's all about. Like, it takes a village. It takes a community, and we're supposed to be all in this together for the greater good, not for just my good.
Right. What do you do to protect your children from all these things, though? Because they go to school, they're on the phone.
Mine are all older now.
Oh, yeah?
So my youngest just graduated college.
Okay.
No more tuition payments. Yes.
Right.
I don't have to eat ramen noodles anymore.
Right. We're going to go back to that. We're going to talk about rich politicians later, but
There's a
there's
lot of
no
rich politicians.
there really are. I make $4,900 a year
What? From
as
this?
as mayor.
No way.
Yes.
Illegals are making way more than that.
I make $4,900.
4,900 for what? Well, they should pay you more.
No, listen, it's again, this is not about doing it to make myself rich. It's a stipend that covers, money that I spend on events in town or
Right.
donating back to the community.
Right. But shouldn't they pay you more though to have that little extra incentive? Like, hey, just you work hard. We see you. I'll pay you more.
No, because then it's about the getting paid, not
Right.
about giving it back. Public service is about paying it forward.
Right.
It's not about, getting rich or anything like that. It is about providing for a community. There are mayors who don't get paid at all. I'm not the only one. I mean, New Jersey's got 564 municipalities. More than 300 have less than 10,000 residents.
So a lot of them are not getting paid.
A lot of them are not getting paid.
Okay. Oh, there's a lot of good people then.
There really are.
Yeah. Yeah, just because, American politics just seems like a whole
Because
bunch of-
again, you're looking at the news, you're looking at the
Right.
social media and all the, the articles, because it's all clickbait, is, who's done this, who's stolen, who's, doing
Right.
what they shouldn't be doing. That's the clickbait. No one's really talking about the public servants who really do give back to their communities.
Yeah, it's just your stories never get told.
No.
Right. There's always the super villainous or super good made up stories that always get published. So there's good politicians out there, right? You saw my cousin.
Yes.
Well, yeah, so I told him, hey, I'm meeting the mayor of one of the mayors of New Jersey, and he said, yo, that's crazy. And also ask her about the wars. And I said, and yeah, so I was going to ask you, like, what do you think's happening with Ukraine, with Palestine?
Again, from the outside looking in, I see the people of Ukraine. I see a country that is trying to be its own country and not be absorbed by, Russia. And they have every right. They have been on their own. I give them credit because they are resilient and a scrappy, kind of like from the song from Hamilton. It's about fighting for what you believe in. And that is, that's them. I have a number of friends who are of Ukrainian descent who still have family there.
Right.
And, I hear their stories that they hear from their families. And it's a struggle, but yet they still come out fighting because they love their country. They love their identity, and they don't want to lose it. And I don't blame them. They should have every right to maintain their own identity.
So Russia is the big bully here? Or is there a good guy, a bad guy at all? Or is it just all...
Listen, I will, again, personally, I'm not speaking for anyone other than me. I think Russia's the bully here.
Right.
That's
what it looks like.
It trying to bring back and kind of recreate the USSR from, before, what was it? Mikhail. Oh God, going back to the 80s now.
Right.
When he kind of allowed the countries to become their own and not parts of the Russian Empire.
Right.
The piece of it that gets worrisome, right, is you've got these powers that are trying to slowly but surely, take over.
Right.
No, like, let them be. They did nothing, as far as I know. They did nothing to incite Russia's invasion. So let it go. But again, it's why I'm not, president of Russia, because I would let people be.
Right. You can't be a president like that.
No,
you got to be very on either side.
They are, again, I think they're trying to recreate the USSR and bring everything back. Again, my impression based on what I see.
Right.
And I see a small piece of what goes on.
It's crazy because that's what happened with my country, Bangladesh. In 1971, we fought the war with Pakistan, and we became our own country. Nowadays, there's a lot of conversations about, hey, India's trying to take us back, Pakistan's trying to take us back, and it's horrifying. And yeah, I mean, so how much does America
like, why does America have so much power in so many different countries? You know, they have their hands with everyone. You know, they're shaking hands with some, they're breaking relationships with some, but there's always something going on with America and other countries. And I understand it's about safety, but at what point is it not about safety? And it's about money and power and control.
Listen, I think there's always a piece of it that includes money, power, and control.
Right.
Ultimately, again, going back to the greater good, it is about, protecting the safety of our borders and making sure that we don't experience what those countries are experiencing.
Right.
We have a strength, right? We have been the protector since World War II for so many countries. And, I think it's a kind of a big brother role.
Yeah.
It's how I always looked at it. Like, we're here to support. I don't believe that it is our place to take over anyone. Like, we're here to support, we're here to help. The one thing where other countries are starting to kind of step up and spend some of their money on security, I think is good. I don't think it should all fall on our shoulders. It goes back to our conversation about paying for everyone else.
Right.
There's definitely a balance of that. All of our tax dollars should not be going to support, but at the same time, we should be doing what we can to help protect
Right.
those that have been good allies to us, and countries like Ukraine, like things that happen in other countries.
It does. It happens in my country.
And it happens. I mean, child marriage happens here. Forced marriage happens in the States.
Oh, yeah?
So, listening
Oh,
to
you talking about in New Jersey?
there is an organization called, I think it's Unchained in New Jersey,
Right.
because there had been child marriages.
Oh. How young?
I think 10.
Oh, that's crazy. In America? Just, it's weird how people could, accept that. So, all right.
But it's part of a culture
It's part of a religion too.
and part of a religion.
Right.
Yes.
Part of many religions.
Yes.
So what do you think of, America going into different countries and trying to change their cultures, or this is one side, the other side is, hey, I'm trying to protect them.
Right.
So just, do you think something or someone or a figure like America, who's like a big brother,
Right.
should go into the little brother's house and slap the shit out of him sometimes, and hey, don't get your 5-year-old sister married to this 60-year-old dude?
Yeah.
Should America do that? Does America have a role to play there, or not at all?
I don't think we have a role to play in another country.
Right.
I think there are organizations that are involved in those countries
Right.
that we can support those organizations, and making sure that they have the resources that they need to raise awareness and make the change that they want to see happen. Those are never easy answers. There's not a black or white answer. This is all gray area.
It is, right? It also depends on the precedent.
The precedent, you've got all of these generations of tradition.
Right.
I would hope that we were not marrying 5-year-olds
Right.
to 40-year-old men.
Right.
But again, I don't know the cultures, and I can't speak for the cultures, but what I can do is support the organizations that are trying to change behavior and change some of those traditions.
Right. This happens a lot in Bangladesh, like a lot.
Really?
With child marriages, and there are aunties. I have aunties who got married at 8 years old, 11 years old. They're pretty happy, but they are medicated. There's a lot of things they won't talk about. And I mean, I have some friends, like his uncle's from Palestine. He's a rapper. And yeah, he was telling me, it's interesting because he doesn't like Hamas, right? He doesn't like what's happening in Palestine. He's a Christian. So would you, not as a mayor, but as just a normal human being looking at all these videos, looking at these people, would you blame Islam for it?
The religion, not the culture.
Not the religion.
Right.
Because again, let's reframe that.
Right.
Same thing when you have an extreme, right? Extreme Christianity,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't tolerate anything other than you follow, and use David Koresh, Jim Jones, the cult aspect of it. The cult aspect is what is the unhealthy piece of it. The religion itself, Islam is about peace.
Right. Right.
So that, to me, just like Judaism, Catholicism, Christianity, all about peace. But yet you can, and Jimmy Carter wrote a book, and one of the things that really stuck with me is you and I can read the same paragraph from the Bible and interpret it differently, right? It's all about the interpretation of that word.
Yeah. Religion is a tricky one, right?
It is.
It is. And I hate to see it being so much into politics and just influencing the lives of so many people who don't even follow the religion.
Right. There really should be a separation of church and state, right?
Right.
Like my faith doesn't determine what I do for my community as a public servant.
Right.
It shouldn't. For too many people, it does.
You're a Christian?
Catholic.
Catholic. How's it been being a Christian and a mayor?
You know, I separate. My faith is has no influence in the work that I do or the decisions that I make, because there are things that and again, I'm not defined strictly by Catholicism. So obviously I break from the church on some of my social values. Does it make me a bad Catholic? In some eyes, yes, it makes me a horrible Catholic and I should be banned from the church. But, you know, again, that is not the definition of who I am. It's not just one piece. There are so many facets to individuals, and that's what we tend to forget. Like someone is not just Jewish. There's more to that individual. Someone is not just Muslim.
Right.
Like understand that the individual is made up, and their life experiences really define who they are as people. Not in some cases the religion, but not always.
No, not always. Most of the time it's not, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. It is very interesting because you know what Iran is doing, right? There's people in Iran saying death to America all the time, right? And it's a power statement. Like, yo, if you know how to say it louder, you're the next leader, something like that in Iran, right? So that kind of hatred towards America is now, a lot of American politicians are seeing that and be like, hey, we could run off that. We could see that and maybe do the exact opposite, death to the Middle East, death to Islam. And now they're getting popular. And I'm seeing this happen all the time. Now people are going after Islam head on, like, hey, it's a wrong religion, this and that. So what do you think of that? What do you think about this, I don't know, this new rivalry that's starting between them?
Again,
it's always been like that, but now it's like a little more, I don't know, they want to kill each other now.
Well, because you got social media, right? Like I got clicks because I said death to America or death to
Right.
Iran.
It's always social media, right?
You know, but at the same time, social media can be used for good.
Right.
We can use it to communicate, to make sure that people are aware. Like I said, we had a trash issue today in town because there was equipment failure with the truck.
Right.
So we put out a communication that goes to social media to let people know that if your trash didn't get picked up, it's going to get picked up tomorrow.
Right.
You know, I struggle with, and again, this is like the rose-colored glasses. I want everyone to be able to work together for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
People are interested in for themselves. You know, I see it regularly.
Right.
And I'm not surprised. Disappointed sometimes, especially when it is to an extreme, because you're not benefiting anyone. All you're doing is hurting one community or another.
Mm-hmm.
And people who are trying to do, go to work, put food on the table, pay the rent, take care of the kids.
Yeah.
Like we lose sight of the people aspect of all this.
Right.
It's so much easier to make, it's no different. You go back to, what was it, during World War II when they had the comics, and they made the Germans look, horrible in the comic strips.
Right.
Now, same kind of thing. Unfortunately, we just do it at a much faster rate now.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching this documentary about the 9/11, and this Osama bin Laden, being the biggest terrorist in the world, has a camera phone on. It's taking videos, right, about how he's going to kill people. There's a part of human beings, no matter how big you are, you just want to get popular. You just want to be the main topic. You just want to be the main guy.
Right.
He wanted to be the main voice of the far right Islamic world, and he was. And so how do you balance that? Because do you deal with that? Do you want to be that person, or do you?
Listen,
you
I
don't,
wanted
you
to
don't
be an
care at all?
actress as a kid, and I had a theater teacher tell me I can't sing, dance, or act, so
Right.
I'm not gonna act.
Right.
No, I don't have an ambition to do anything higher.
Mhm.
I've run for Congress. You
Right.
know, it was a great experience. I met a lot of people, learned a lot, but that's not my ambition. Like, I love what I do. As crazy as it gets sometimes, and my phone is always on. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling. I will take calls in the middle of the night
Yeah.
and deal with it because there's an issue for someone and they just want to be heard.
Right.
And that's really all I can do is hear them. Can't always fix everything, but I can at least let them know that I've heard them.
Right. So do you don't have a big grand
No.
plan for yourself?
Nope.
No. How do you balance that? Do you struggle with that, or you just don't have that in you?
No, listen, I'm a politician
Right.
in that I love a microphone and a stage.
Right.
You give me a microphone and a stage and I will go on for hours. I have no issue with that. I love an audience.
Mhm.
I love when I have people come to council meetings because
Right.
I've got an audience.
Right.
So for me, it is, I'm not going to tell you that I don't like the spotlight.
Mhm.
Anyone who tells you they don't is lying.
Right.
If they're in politics, they like the spotlight. So, you know, I will always take that opportunity. But it's not, for me, it's not really a balance. Like, I'm not looking to make it to national television
Right.
or anything like that. Like, I get to do this. You know, I get to go on others. I was doing a show, a streaming show called My Town where I interviewed other mayors,
Right.
you know, and it was fun to talk about their communities.
Mhm.
We just want to be able to talk about what we have that's so amazing.
Yeah.
You know, people don't look at the small towns. They come in, they appreciate it. You know, when we're done here, you should take a ride down Main Street. You get to see the Red Mill, which is historic,
Mhm.
the river. And
Red Mill. There's a lot of horror stories there, right?
no, well, no, there's a haunted mill that they do every October,
Right. Right. Right.
which is, you know, known around the country. People come from all over for it.
Right.
I don't go through it because it is scary.
Mm. It was
Uh,
scary.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh.
It's horribly
It's all
scary.
made up though.
It's all made. It's still scary.
Right,
When they
right.
jump out at you,
Right.
it's scary.
Right.
They touch you, it's scary.
Right.
And then we have an art museum, and we've
Mm.
got a beautiful river. You know, we're a town that dates back to the 1800s. So we've got a great downtown. We've got a great community. I love to be able to show it off. Every
Right.
time a new movie is coming into Jersey, I'm like, Clinton's open.
Right.
Come film in Clinton.
Yeah.
You know, eventually we'll get something here.
Right. I was watching a podcast that you did. You talked about how, I mean, I messed up the details, but you said how your film company that you have, or the connections that you have, you could turn around a film really fast, way faster than most people.
So I sit on the film commission, the New Jersey Film Commission.
Right.
And usually what happens is the productions kind of come in, and New Jersey's got 564 municipalities. We have each one of us has our own form of government. So my 1.3 square miles is my town and is much different from Clinton Township, Highbridge, Union, whatever. So I can at least, because I've been doing this for almost 20 years, I can reach out to mayors and say, hey, I have a production that's really interested in your community. This is what they're looking to do. Are you willing to sit down, have a conversation with them? So I can help them kind of get to the mayor and kind of turn it around a little bit quicker rather than, you know, they fill out a form, they get to the clerk, and not that the clerk's doing anything wrong, but the clerk's not the ultimate decision maker,
Right.
right? Like, they're taking in the information, they're passing it off. But sometimes when there's that personal connection that I may have with the mayor,
Mhm.
it makes a difference.
Right. Let's say someone wants to do a film, right, in New Jersey, and they have this idea. So where do you come in? Where can you make that happen for them?
So usually what happens if a production comes in, they go to the film commission. So we have an amazing staff. They usually start there because especially if they're going to apply for the tax credit.
Right.
And then
What was the tax credit?
so tax credit is up to 39%
Mm.
in a tax certificate that they can then put on they can resell
Right.
to a New Jersey business if they don't have they don't pay taxes in Jersey. And so it helps, right? Like a production gets a benefit, but that money they're also spending in New Jersey.
Mm.
So, you know, A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic was filmed in New Jersey, all but one day. They spent, if I'm not mistaken, about $80 million in New Jersey. So that's revenue to the state.
Right.
And then they can get, the tax credit for it, for 39 up to 39% of it. So they'd start with the film commission. They they'd probably have a meeting with the commission staff, kind of lay out what they're looking to do, storyboard it. The commission staff will talk to them about locations, about opportunities, towns that might have what they're looking for, send them. We have a locations database on our website. We have a production services database on our website. So they can come in and go there to look for crew. They can look for other production services.
Right.
So they all start there. And then, once they've kind of started that process, they've had the conversations with the state, I will work with the staff and, they'll ask me about a community. Do you know the mayor? So, pick Asbury Park. Mayor Moore is the mayor there. I can reach out to him and say, hey, Mayor, just FYI, there's a production that's interested. Do you have some time to have a conversation with them? And really what I'm doing is facilitating the conversations.
Right.
Like, I'm not telling the towns you have to say yes, or that you have to offer permits or not charge or anything like that. It's really about facilitating the introduction.
Making connections,
Yeah.
right? So what makes you so interested in the filmmaking, though? It's
Again, I wanted to be an actress, remember?
Oh, that's it?
I love film.
Right.
It's always been in a form of escape, right? Like, you get to go watch a movie and go to a different world.
Right. Yeah, it is beautiful, right? So isn't it hard to balance your love for films than, them being a mayor?
No.
You seem to do a good job at, doing both.
I'm not happy unless I'm working
Right.
crazy. I don't sit around well.
Right.
I can take some downtime. I'll go if I'm going away where I'm going to sit at the beach. But again, I've got to have something to keep me occupied
All the time.
all the time.
Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah. I go crazy if I don't have things in my
Yeah. It gets expensive if I have nothing to do, because then I'll shop online.
Right.
So this keeps me from shopping online.
Right. Is it hard balancing all this with family time?
No, my husband is, kind of a workaholic as well. And he's actually in the entertainment space. So he's on the finance side of it.
Okay.
He's been doing it 20 years, almost 20 years now. He and his business partner have a firm, and they have a bunch of film, television, music libraries that they manage. So, I've gotten to know a lot of the individuals through him that he's worked with,
Right.
which has helped me, because at least when I'm having a conversation with another mayor, I can talk production to a certain level. Like, I understand. It's like the only other language I can speak. I can
Right.
speak government. I can speak a little bit of production. That's about the extent of it. So I can help that navigation.
You don't want to be a main actress in your own movie someday? I feel like, make your own production, be the main person, have your own story.
So
Yeah.
my theater teacher in high school,
Yeah.
she said and it's really kind of true. You can't play anyone else. You can play you.
Right.
You're never going to be able to take on a persona that is not someone who you are.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of true. It's probably why politics works for me, because I can be me.
Right.
Do I want to be? No. I like the behind the scenes and making things work. I like fixing things.
Right.
And that's a way for me to fix things. I fix things, with town, and I can fix things with productions. Something blows up and all of a sudden a mayor is like, what's going on? I can help navigate that.
Right. You talk about high school a lot and about this teacher who told you.
Yes, it's devastating.
Yeah. So why did it hurt you so much?
Because I really wanted to be an actress.
Oh, yeah?
I really did. I thought I could. I knew I couldn't sing. I knew I did not. I thought I could at least act. And she's like, yeah, no, you can't.
What made her say that? Did you?
I took a theater class.
Oh.
I did pass it barely.
Okay.
She's like, but you need to find another career.
Right. I mean, if you passed it too good, you wouldn't be the mayor, right? Or
No,
maybe.
I'd still be the mayor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I love what I do. I love this community.
Right.
And I'm Jersey through and through. Born and raised here.
Right.
Never lived anyplace else.
You
So
never lived anywhere out of the state?
out
Or?
of the state, no.
Oh,
And it's funny because yeah, I remember growing up because I grew up here. I remember graduating high school going, I am getting out of Jersey.
yeah.
I am not. But yet, this is home.
Yeah.
I like leaders when they're from the place they're, ruling over. I really like that. I like seeing that, and there's this compassion that you can't buy.
No. No, but even when but I think it really comes from wanting to be in public service.
Right.
Public service is not about benefiting me. It's about benefiting my community and what I can do. It's paying it forward. Like I was lucky to be able to grow up here, have a good education, have opportunities. This is my way of giving it back to the community and to those who are here.
Is it working so far, or is there anything that you think or would think that would be different, but it didn't turn out that different? You just turn out bad?
No.
No.
It's easy to say, oh, well, what if?
Right.
But I think every path I've taken has been the right path.
Yeah.
There may have been some detours along the way, but ultimately it got me to where I'm supposed to be.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, it's just so let's take it back to, some conspiracies, right?
Okay.
So you obviously have some connections with the big people in politics. Well, how big, like, did you talk with the president?
No.
No? You never talked with Trump?
Nope.
Biden?
Nope.
Obama?
Nope.
So which one did you talk to? Did you talk to any president or vice president or?
When Bill Clinton, he wasn't president any longer, but he came into Jersey, a number of years ago for a congressional campaign.
Right.
I got to meet him then and take a picture with him.
Oh, that's it?
Yep.
Oh, so it's not as well connected as I thought it was.
No, I mean, I know Booker, Senator Booker.
Right.
I knew him when he was mayor. He's got an amazing staff
Right.
that I'm close with. And that's really who you want to know. It's not necessarily the politician. It's the staff that supports the politician. Because, and this happens to me, I will be in the food store and I will have 5 different people ask me something. And I always say to them, someone else, what you want is important. You need to text me or email me because someone else is going to ask me something and I'm going to forget what you asked me to do.
Right.
So getting to the person, and obviously while there's staff here, I don't expect the staff to staff me. Knowing that the senator's office has a staff that is accessible whenever I need to call, and I've called plenty of times for a multitude of reasons. They are absolutely amazing.
Right. So it's a lot about the people around them.
Yes.
Do you
That's
know-
those are the people who want to know.
Right.
You want their number,
Gotcha.
not the senator's number.
Mm.
Senator's wonderful and I love him, but it's his staff that's going to get the stuff done for me.
Right. So there are like corrupted mayors as well, right?
There have been,
Like-
yes.
Most of the big city mayors, right?
No, there have been some small mayors that have gotten themselves in a little bit of trouble over the
Right.
years.
So as a mayor, you have access to a lot of things that could get you in a corrupted side of the world, right?
Sure. I mean, listen, I could,
How bad can it get? Is what I'm asking.
it can get bad. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a developer that comes in, they want to do a job. All right, well, you got to give me something.
Right. That's what happened in Bangladesh. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens everywhere.
Right.
I like to believe that most of them, 98% of them are all on the good side and not taking. But there's always going to be that 2%
Right.
that will be on the take in some way, shape, or form. And you get caught.
Right. It's America.
It's interestingly, I had my daughter's pediatrician. This is going back 30 years. I have no idea how we got on the conversation, but he said something. I guess someone must have embezzled money. He's like, you never embezzle money unless you embezzle enough to buy an island and not be extradited
That's a good
and
one.
live like you've never lived before. I'm like, probably true.
Yeah. Sure.
1,000, 2,000, 200,000 is not going to make my life better.
No, not at all.
And ultimately, like, I couldn't live with myself.
Yeah,
Again, it goes back to
yeah.
the front page paper.
Right. You need a new name, new passport, new
Yeah.
family.
It's way too much work.
Right. Right. It's not worth it at times, right?
No. But again, people get seduced
Right.
by, the easy cash or,
Right.
thinking that they can get away with it.
Is there a certain type of did you recognize patterns in these people, corrupted people, or is it just something happened, some random event?
I think it's some random event.
Yeah?
I think I think there's always those who are looking to be corrupt are always corrupt. And if you look back in their history, they probably did other things as well. It's not like, but then I think that there are times even unknowingly,
Right.
like you sit down, and this is why I'm always really careful, right? Like I sit down with someone to have a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really careful. I'm like, no, you're not buying my breakfast. No, you're not buying my lunch.
Right.
We're having a conversation. I am not promising you anything. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm giving you feedback based on, again, my opinion, what I think works. Ultimately, you come before the council or the land use board for anything that you want to do. This is not my decision to make. I am not going to influence the decision.
Right. So is that moral compass that you have, and a lot of politicians have, is it because they're from the place they're ruling over? Does that have something to do with
No, I
it?
don't think it has anything to do with it. I think
No?
it really is who people are as individuals. It's about understanding right from wrong. And, again, I think people sometimes get seduced or get caught in something without recognizing they've been caught in it, and then they
Right.
can't get out of it.
Right. Right. It's a lot of mistakes, right?
No one's looking to come in and get rich in Clinton.
Right.
Like there's no developer. So, it's good in that respect, in that I can kind of say what I say. No one's coming to me trying to offer me $10,000 for anything.
Right.
I'm also pretty vocal and clear with what I believe. So, anyone who thought that they could get something, and here's an example. Very first time I ran for mayor, I had a professional company, an engineering firm, it's no longer in business, come and say, listen, we'll get everyone on our staff to donate to your campaign, but you have to appoint us as the engineer. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't need that.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Right.
And we here in town, we have a pay to play so that none of our professionals can donate to campaigns
Right.
within the town.
Interesting. Donations is a big one, right? It's just a shady word.
Always. Well, because it costs so much to run a campaign.
Right.
You got to spend money to get lawn signs, to get paid ads on social media, to get mailers put out, to hire people to knock doors. I mean, here in Clinton, I knock every door once or twice.
Yeah.
So I don't hire. We all do volunteer.
Right.
But we give back to everyone here. But yeah, you look at New York and how much money was spent there.
Oh, man. Yeah, so much money. So much
Right.
money, yeah.
And outside money that comes in.
Right. Even foreign money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Americans complain about how a lot of things are changing. I mean, there's a lot of foreign money. Yeah, it's the very countries you hate are the ones funding your politicians a lot of times, right?
Right. Quietly, because of course you can't take
Under American
money.
names too. They got different names. Yeah.
Yeah.
So donations, the nonprofits, right? Elon Musk, him with the Doge, right?
Yep.
He figured out a lot of stuff. Is it all true? Whatever he's figuring out and is claiming?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Again, we hear. I don't think there's the fraud that everyone believes there is. I think there's
That's me. I think I was thinking that.
There's always a small percentage. I mean, go back to the 9/11, right? The individuals who tried to scam money.
Right.
They'll wind up in prison. The mother's son that created that foundation and then embezzled all the money from the foundation for the 9/11, they both went to prison.
Right.
There's not this widespread. And are there roles that are old and outdated? Absolutely. But again, this goes back to the infrastructure, which is not just roads and bridges, but also our technology. Our power grid is outdated.
It's a big one.
We saw it during Sandy when companies, we had weeks and weeks where there was no power in some locations. And the people coming from Oregon and whatnot looked at our, I mean, I had a conversation with some guys that were sitting at the diner, and they're like, we've never seen this
Oh yeah.
stuff.
Damn.
Like, we don't know how to fix because we've never seen it.
It was that bad?
Some of it was that bad.
They haven't seen it. So was it a lack of I don't know, competence?
No, it was because our infrastructure here is so old.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing like the power companies are upgrading the grids because, you know, when you have a Sandy that comes in and
Right.
knocks everything out.
Yeah. If that happens now, it would be bad.
Right.
Yeah. People are addicted to their phones. They would go crazy. People will start killing each other.
Yeah.
For entertainment.
It might be the purge.
Yeah. So Elon Musk is he's lying?
I don't know if he's lying. I'm not going to say he is or he isn't. Again, this is one of those things like
Right.
looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
I was concerned that you had individuals getting access to information that, you know, these are kids who can do a lot of things with computers. You know, giving them access to personal information, the right thing. You see, how many scams do you get?
Right.
On your phone?
Yeah.
How many, you know, I look at my parents who are in their 80s now. Constantly, my dad's texting me, is this real? Like, do I need to pay this bill? No, you don't need to pay the bill, Dad. IRS is not calling you. I love when I get the phone call. This is the IRS. The police are at your door. If you don't pay me right now, I'm like, all right, hold on one second. Let me call the chief on the other line. And then they hang up.
Oh, you could do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. But people are always being scammed. And people who you wouldn't think get caught up in it. It looks just real enough. And there's just enough fear that like something's going to happen if I don't take care of it.
Right. But just Elon Musk comes in and just, America's been there for hundreds of years, and this guy comes in and says, hey, everybody got it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm the one who figured it out. I'm the one who figured out that people are stealing money. How real is that?
I don't think it's that real.
Yeah, it's just...
Again, it's a good soundbite. And did he find any dead people being paid benefits? I'm sure.
Right.
But to the extent that we're saving billions of dollars, no.
Right.
Yeah, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion too. It just seems unreal. It's not that unchecked, right? Someone have to check all that.
No, but again, you're looking at when you start to, you know, downsize departments to an extent, things slip through the cracks. Easy enough to do when you've got how many billions of people living in this country.
Right.
He thought he could save a lot of money.
Right.
Because he was going to find all this waste.
And he did.
I think he found some waste.
Right.
But I think you find that anywhere.
Right.
Like think about this. You buy a company, right? The first thing you're going to do is a forensic audit to look at what things are duplicative, you know, where there can be some streamlining to save money that way. Because ultimately it's about the bottom line.
Yeah. He's just treating America as a company, right? Is that a good approach?
To an extent, I think. I mean, you have to have some sort of a business sense to understand how finances work, again, to manage a budget. I come from the corporate world. I worked in corporate for, 15 years before I got involved in politics. So, I managed a budget for a company.
Right. Did that help you be, with the mayor duties?
It did. Here's the one thing that's different. Everyone thinks that we have complete control of our budgets. I have control of about 25% of the budget. There are so many state mandates that we have to pay for. I have no control over that. I have no control over healthcare costs. I have no control over pension payments and the benefits.
Right.
So those costs go up. I have no control over the electricity, the gas, any of that. Those costs are all part of the budget.
Right.
So I can't control it.
Right. America is good that way. They don't give too much control to one person, right?
No.
Yeah. The checks and balances are good.
Yeah. Well, that's what the government's supposed to be, right? You have 3 branches.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't know that that Congress is taking its role as seriously. And again, I think part of it is they're afraid. They don't want to be primaried.
Right.
because that's that threat that hangs over them. If you don't agree and do what I tell you, you're going to get primaried and lose your race. And they look at someone like Liz Cheney, who, she stood up for what she believed was right and wound up, losing her seat.
Right. Right.
But I'd rather lose my seat because I stood up for what was right than to keep my seat and know that I folded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard balance to have as a politician.
That's the ethics.
Right.
And that moral compass that, can you go to bed at night knowing that you did what was in the best interest?
I wish a lot of politicians thought like that, honestly.
I know, me too.
Yeah. So, these big corporations, right? I was watching this TikTok video about, State Street, BlackRock, Vanguard. There's a bunch of companies that own America, basically. That's what the TikTok video said. So what do you think of that?
I think there's a lot of corporate influence everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, slowly but surely, you've seen a lot of the smaller businesses absorbed. I mean, you even see it with studios, film studios.
Right.
Like, Amazon bought MGM. Skydance is buying Paramount, acquiring Paramount. Slowly but surely, the things are kind of coalescing and consolidating. Same thing with banks. What was it after the 2006, 2000? When was the 2008? Right, when you kind of had that mini crash, and Bear Stearns, and companies like that all of a sudden, get absorbed.
You're right.
And now you've got a larger conglomerate that is running it. That's where we lose sight of the people and focus only on the bottom line.
Yeah, so many mom and pop shops and, family-run businesses are all gone.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have like Italian shops and Spanish shops, and they're all owned by one company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't think is it how much of it is a monopoly?
Probably more than we think.
Yeah.
You look at there's so many holding companies, and what falls under a holding company.
Right.
Trying to trace it all.
Oh, it's crazy.
I mean, and that's where, you watch the movies where they're trying to trace. We're all like, wow.
It's impossible.
It is, and again, this goes back to, I have a circle of influence. I have things that I can focus on that are important to my community, to my county, and to my state. And that's what I do. Like, my businesses downtown are all small businesses. Some of them have been here 40 years.
Right.
And that is an anomaly in a town like Clinton, where, for a long time, main streets went away.
Right.
Because it was the big mega mall.
Mm-hmm.
But now you see kind of main streets coming back and the malls are going away.
Right. Is Clinton different like that, or is it just a coincidence?
I think part of it is, we have really put a focus on making sure our business community had resources. So while we don't fund them, we made sure that as we got information, we shared it with them. If there was an opportunity for grant, especially during the pandemic, grant funding, we made sure that they had it available. The restaurants wanted outdoor seating. We made it possible for outdoor seating. We tried to streamline and make doing business in town easy.
Right.
I think we've also been really diligent in our budgeting. So we didn't have huge tax hits like some towns did. And again, I don't want to put blame on mayors or, administrations. Everyone's in a different place. When I first came in as mayor, we were not in a good place financially.
Why?
And the former administration.
Oh, so who did you take after? Who was before you?
So her name was Christine Schomburg.
Okay.
She
messed it up a little bit?
It's hard to say messing up versus trying to keep taxes low and use what I call one-hit wonders, right? Like, you cut the tax rate and use money from somewhere, usually from your surplus. Well, you can only do that for so long because eventually it's like savings, right? Once you continue using your savings and not replenishing it,
you're broke.
You're broke. That's what happened. She was using it to artificially reduce the tax rate. And, because it looked good for an
on
election.
paper.
I I've reduced your taxes.
Mm.
You know, and when I came in, we were hemorrhaging. So, you know, we have about 1,100 line items, which are, you know, ratables
Right.
in our town. We were averaging anywhere from 80 to 100 tax appeals a year that we were losing because we had not done a regular reassessment of the property. So
Right.
properties were overassessed based on, you know, where the market was. People were challenging it, getting that money back. When we lose to a resident, we pay back their municipal taxes, county taxes, and school taxes,
Oh,
not just the municipal,
all of that.
all of it.
It's a lot of money.
So it was, you know, a significant amount of money that we were doing. You know, there was some, our court system was not, we were paying for a court system and basically subsidizing other towns. So, you know, doing that forensic audit, really looking at it and saying, all right, what do we need to do? So we did a town-wide revaluation, which was painful because when that happens, everyone gets readjusted. Some people get adjusted up, some people get adjusted down, and some people stay the same.
Right.
But that was, our rateable base lost $50 million
That's big.
in that first time.
Yeah.
So it was huge, but we were able to kind of make it up with taxes and everything like that.
Mhm.
And then slowly but surely we started rebuilding our surplus. So we went up, our taxes went up, you know, 0.5 cent a year,
Right.
1 cent, 2 cents. We tried to keep it minimum so that it was an easy increase,
Mhm.
not a nothing for 3 years and then 5 cents.
Right.
You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but based on different assessments, it could be a lot.
Right.
So we did that and then slowly but surely rebuilt our surplus so that when COVID came around, you know, we had a healthy surplus that we could use to offset and not hit our residents.
Right. It's a lot of things you got to worry about as a mayor, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it get stressful? How do you sleep at night?
I actually sleep pretty well.
Oh, you do?
You know what? There's an amazing staff we have here in town. You know, our police department is fabulous. My business administrator and clerk, our CFO, all the support staff, everyone has been here for a number of years. We become family, and they care about the town as much as I do.
Right.
And that's key.
Yeah.
Having the employees that care as much as you do.
Right, right. That's hard too, right? Just making them see the same vision that you're seeing.
You know, it comes down to, it's a shared vision.
Right.
So it's not just my vision, but it's really asking everyone for their input. You know,
Do
what
they get
works, what
greedy
doesn't.
sometimes? Do they
No.
want to make money in some other ways? You don't deal with that at all? There's no people like that?
We have an amazing staff here in town. I mean,
Right.
does it happen elsewhere? I'm sure it does.
Sure it does, yeah.
But we really do. I mean, we pay fair.
Mhm.
And we keep people, you know, we make sure that there's opportunities as well. You know, it's not like you come in at this and then you never get an increase. Listen, if you're doing more work,
Mhm.
you get an increase.
Right.
You know, we try to make sure that our salaries are comparable.
Right.
And it's not like they leave to go, you know, get better money.
Speaking of sleeping at night, so what about legalizing weed? Right?
We came out of COVID and got cannabis.
Right.
So I was actually president of the New Jersey League of Municipalities in 21 when cannabis was going through and most towns overwhelmingly supported legalization.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily mean they want it in their town. Interesting thing is when they legalized it, the legislation gave 180 days for towns to decide if they were going to opt in or opt out, but also gave 180 days to the Cannabis Regulatory Commission to come up with its rules.
Mm.
I had not had really good experience with the state coming up with rules.
Right.
I mean, I look at affordable housing, it took them 20 years and the rules still haven't really been set.
Right, right.
So we as a town opted out.
Oh, you did?
We did.
It's not legal here?
We can't, it's not that it's not legal.
Right.
It's legal for someone to have it.
Okay.
We didn't opt in to have a dispensary or a grow facility in
Gotcha.
town.
Yeah.
That's basically all we opted out of.
Mhm.
Now, surprisingly, I lost a $20 bet because the Cannabis Regulatory Commission did actually come out with rules within 180 days. Probably the only state agency that was ever able to meet a statutory deadline. So it was pretty funny because I had a bet with someone and I lost. And I remind the chair of the commission regularly that I lost $20 because of her.
Really?
Listen, it's always been around.
Even before us.
Even before us.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is highly regulated. So I spent a lot of time out in California and Colorado. My daughter for a little while lived in Colorado. And during when they put it on the ballot here, I went and talked to people. I talked to dispensaries. I talked to policy people to understand, what worked in Colorado, what worked in California, so that coming back, I could at least speak intelligently to it. Because I knew other mayors. Again, 564 of us. Cannabis is a very small piece of what we're going to deal with on a day-to-day basis unless we had dispensaries. So while we never encouraged towns to say yes or no, we made sure we gave them the information.
Right. Did you have your own personal experiences with any of these or no?
No. Well, I use cannabis lotions.
Okay. The CBD lotions.
THC, CBD.
Oh, they got THC in them too?
Yep.
Oh.
So I'm a runner.
Okay.
I have really bad knees.
Okay. Arthritis?
No, it's more just because I've been a runner for so long and age is kind of creeping up on me. And I did not like taking Advil or Aleve constantly. So the lotions, the CBD acts as a anti-inflammatory, but the THC is obviously a numbing agent without the hallucinogenic aspect of it. So I can run, and if I start to have issues with my knees, I can use the lotion and not have to take Aleve.
What about the crazier ones like mushrooms, ketamine? Elon Musk is on ketamine.
First of all, ketamine is scary.
Right.
For a controlled substance that's used on horses.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Let's really think about this. I probably don't know enough about mushrooms to say it's a hallucinogenic. You're always going to have people that believe it is a gateway drug, right? That cannabis is a gateway drug or that mushrooms are a gateway drug. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never done any of it, so I can't speak to it. But I know that there are some people who've had experiences where it's kind of escalated beyond. So I'm not going to negate their experience.
Right.
Everyone's got to look at it a little differently and manage it how it works best for them.
I think
this is where government shouldn't be telling you what you can or can't do.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. So the big brother role, right? The government has to play that role. But at what point do you tell your little brother not to smoke weed or not to drink? Or maybe he's going through something. You don't understand his problems,
It's not about not doing it. It's about helping people understand implications of overindulgence, whether it's alcohol or weed, right?
Right.
Either or any drug for that matter. But it's not my place to police someone and say, other than my own children,
right?
I don't need to police someone saying you really, shouldn't be doing that. Now, if someone overindulges, I will make sure I take away the car keys.
Right.
Because, that's a responsibility that we all have as individuals, not as a mayor or anything like that, but as a human, recognizing when someone is overindulged. And, if someone regularly overindulges,
right.
I've known alcoholics, making sure that they understand that there are resources out there.
So what's the big drug in Clinton? What's the big problem? Is there a problem like that or not?
We've had overdoses.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's you've got a high school, you've got a major highway,
right.
And you've got social media that kids are able, I've heard about pill parties where people just come and drop pills in a bowl and kids just take.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I think it's not just Clinton, it's everywhere, right? It's easy access to the drugs that scares me more than anything,
right.
Especially with fentanyl.
The
fact that kills in an instant,
right.
the smallest amount. And kids are, believe that they're indestructible.
Right.
And some adults too, who are addicts, obviously. It's really making sure there's an education component at the high schools and at the grammar schools and in the families to understand the implications.
Right. Yeah. So this is the last point we're going to touch on. This is a crazy one. LGBT stuff, right? So I don't know how to frame this question, honestly. What do you think of that? What do you think about what's happening? Are they taking it too far, or is it always should it be like this? Or
I mean, listen, I think there's a couple pieces to it, right? Like the LGBT community is a valid community. No ifs, ands, or buts.
right,
Since marriage equality in New Jersey has been legal, I've done, plenty of weddings for
right,
friends and for people that are important to me.
Mhm.
Again, this is a government. Why are you in my business?
right. Is that how you feel about it?
It really is.
Yeah.
I have, I give the communities credit for all the work and advocacy that they do. I actually, so I have, it's faded now, but I usually put a rainbow in my hair
Oh, you do?
in June.
Right.
Because I support all the communities. Like,
Mm.
it's not my place to tell you who you can love or who you should love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my place to tell you about your religion.
Mm.
This is individuality is important, and
It
letting
drives culture.
right and letting people be who they are. Like, I don't think that you can unlearn that. That to me is abhorrent. That you would figure out that by giving someone treatment, they could not be gay.
Right.
Like, that concerns me.
Right.
And again, it's someone else telling you how to live your life.
Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to just see the other extreme, which is trans drag queen teacher teaching your kids to be gay, what would you do about that?
They're first of all, you can't teach someone to be gay.
Right. How does that work though? People are blaming these teachers though, everywhere.
Absolutely, because they're teaching history.
Or yeah, they're just teaching in underwear.
Just teaching in underwear.
I've seen videos like that. It's like a little short and it's colors everywhere. They're teaching about drag. They're just teaching about trans rights, and
There are no teachers that I know that do that.
right. Me neither, but I saw videos.
So let's play the other extreme here, right? Drag queen reading hour.
Right.
Are they bringing out an AK-47?
No. True. True.
Are they carrying a gun?
No.
They're telling a story.
Right.
Dressed in an extreme outfit.
Right.
And they're entertained. They're entertainers.
Yes. Right. That's a good way to look at it.
If someone is so concerned that they believe you can indoctrinate someone,
Mm-hmm.
then that's something else, right? Like, I don't know how anyone indoctrinates a child to say that they're gay.
I mean, kids could be brainwashed a little bit, though, right?
Yeah, listen, David Koresh.
Yeah.
Go back to Jim Jones.
Right.
You've got all these individuals who are able to get people to do something.
Right. Even the Islamic extremists.
Right.
Right.
Any of the terrorist
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can definitely do brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's prevalent in the schools.
Right.
But I also, it goes back to, we need to teach history. We need to understand and recognize these are people. These are human beings who have every right to live their life. They're not asking you to do anything other than to respect their right.
Right. Yeah. The right to freedom.
That's what the country is founded on.
Yeah. So there's no position against them at all?
No,
Right.
not at all.
Right. Because a lot of Trump supporters, they write on that. They don't like that stuff at all. They'll, it's hateful at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there are extremes that are,
Mm-hmm.
and again, because you can use a soundbite.
You're right. Let's talk about the puberty blockers. That happens a lot too. Well, not a lot. Maybe that happens a little bit. Am I right or wrong?
I don't know that.
No.
Again, that's one of those things.
'Cause Elon Musk talks about it a lot.
That he's got a trans child.
Right.
Again, like,
Right.
there are, I don't think it is as prevalent as
people will claim it is.
People claim it is.
Right. That's what I think.
It is, you know, the transgender population is so small in the grand scheme of the overall U.S. population,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, let's think about this. You're worried about, you know,
Yeah.
5 people in 10,000
Right.
or whatever. I don't know what the number is, but it's so small. And that's part of, I think, what the Democrats' messaging issue is. Like, we were so focused on being inclusive of a community that doesn't necessarily identify itself as. I had an interesting conversation with a friend who is Republican and who is also gay. And the conversation was, how can you be Republican? He's like, because I'm not identified by my sexual orientation. I'm me. Goes back to the same thing. I'm not identified by my Catholicism.
Right.
So, you know, it gave me an opportunity to think about things a little bit differently.
Mhm.
You know, why are we so worried about what everyone else is doing when we really should focus on what's going on in our own homes?
Right. Right.
Worry about your backyard, right?
Mhm.
Don't be the nosy neighbor,
Mhm.
you know, wondering what
Either other people are doing.
other people are doing or cooking for dinner. Oh my God, they're making something for dinner that I don't like.
Right.
Then don't go for dinner.
Right. Yeah.
Like, we're so focused on everyone else and what everyone else is doing.
Mhm.
We're not worried about
Right.
what we do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think we'll end on that.
Okay.
That's a good messaging.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this. This has
Thank
been-
you.
Yeah.
This was fun. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. This was special. We talked about a lot.
We did.
And thank you for being honest and thank you for being a good leader.
Thank you.
Thank you.